Hey Mia, in your previous jobs before Google, you worked with CI/CD, right?
Yeah, over the last 5 years, I've built CI/CD pipelines with Jenkins, Spinnaker, Tecton, and other tools.
Very good. When I read online articles about CI/CD, I see many practices that seem like good ideas, but I'm not 100% sure what they all mean, and I don't know how to apply them all to my serverless projects on Google Cloud. Could we review them together?
Totally, let's do it.
All right, let's first talk about the CI in CI/CD. It stands for Continuous Integration, I believe, and it sounds like a good idea to integrate your software early and often, but what does it actually mean?
So CI means that whenever developers commit code to source control, an automatic build is triggered, followed by automatic test suites. So for example, a developer might accidentally check in code that prevents the software from being built. And if that happens, we want to know right away. That way we can fix it quickly and avoid wasting other developers' time with an untestable system.
And you mentioned automatic test suites?
Yeah, so if the automatic build worked, we want automatic tests to run as well. Usually that means running all the unit tests and maybe some integration tests as well.
And the build and test should be automated to save developers time, is that the idea?
Yeah, but also to ensure that they're done the same way every time. Automation means that you get reliably correct builds, and it's a good first step towards a more secure software supply chain. You can also read more about secure software supply chain best practices on the website salsa.dev. That's SLSA.dev.
Sounds good. I have a serverless application hosted on Google Cloud Run. How do I set up continuous integration for it?
So continuous integration really just means that we need a place to execute builds and tests as part of a workflow. But setting that up manually can be kind of a pain. Luckily, Cloud Build can execute your builds for you. Cloud Build lets you define a set of build steps in a YAML file and configure them to run when an event, like a pull request, occurs.
Okay, great. It sounds like Cloud Build would fit my needs. Where should I start?
So here's a tutorial that will guide you through that process. It gives a nice overview. Also, take a look at this repo. It shows how to add a unit test step to the Cloud Build configuration file. It also includes some examples for common programming languages.
All right, I think I understand continuous integration enough to start using it in my project. But what about CD? Some people say it means continuous delivery, and others say it means continuous deployment. What's up with that, Mia?
So it can mean either one. Continuous delivery means that automatic builds are running and that the result automatically gets deployed to an internal test environment. Anybody can do this. Continuous deployment, on the other hand, means that once code is checked into a certain branch or some other trigger, the software is automatically built, tested, and then if those tests pass, deployed to production where end users can see it.
Deployed to production? Continuous deployment sounds risky.
It can be, but if you have a really good test suite and a strong testing culture in your organization, it can really improve change velocity. But I think it's fair to say that most teams don't use continuous deployment.
I've heard that continuous integration is a must before you can aspire to continuous delivery or continuous deployment.
So continuous deployment without continuous integration is incredibly risky. It's really important that you build confidence in your pipeline before using it for continuous deployment.
All right. So how do I set up continuous delivery or deployment for my Cloud Run project?
So the first thing you want to do is to make sure you're using a separate Google Cloud project for your test environment and for your production environment. And if you want continuous delivery, you can add a deployment step in your Cloud Build configuration file so that your built software gets deployed to your test environment.
And if I want continuous deployment, I make that last step deploy to production instead?
Exactly, but you probably don't want all commits made by developers to make it to production right away. You can set up a build trigger to only kick off your Cloud Build config when code is committed to a particular branch in source control. Your main branch might represent production, and you can merge code into that branch for deployments to production.
Thank you. That gives me a way to get started with CD. My next question is about canary releases. The concept is that you deploy a new version of your software to only some of your users to try it out before you expose it to everybody. I really like the idea.
Yeah, me too. So let's say you have a new version of the web application that has a bug in it that was not caught by your automated tests. Let's also say that you only rolled out that new version to 5% of your users. Hopefully at the slightly larger 5% scale, you'll hear from a user about the unexpected behavior, or you might notice errors in your logs.
And because I did a 5% canary release, only 5% of my users ran into the bug. If I'd done a regular non-canary release, 100% of my users would have been affected by the bug, right?
That's exactly right. Canary releases get their name from an old method of testing mines for carbon monoxide. You can't smell or see that gas, but it can be deadly to miners. A Scottish doctor figured out that birds are more sensitive to carbon monoxide than people, so he would bring a caged bird into the mine with him.
Oh, and if that bird stopped chirping, it was time to clear out?
That's right, but it's really important that you have a way of noticing if that happens. A canary release should not hide errors but be loud about them. For example, it could display an error message to users, or page a site reliability engineer, or even write errors to your log.
And how long should I run this canary release?
That's a really important thing to consider, and you want to give the canary release enough time so that hard-to-find errors reveal themselves. This depends on the application, but it should be much longer than a typical release step. The thing to keep in mind is that the fewer users that your application is exposed to, the longer it will take for issues to surface.
All right, how do I set up canary releases for my Cloud Run service?
So Cloud Run has built-in traffic splitting, which makes this really easy. You can set the percentage of traffic going to each revision of your service in the Cloud Console. You can also do this with the gcloud command line client.
I've also heard about revision-specific URLs.
Yeah, if you want to be extra careful, you can start by sending 0% of your production traffic to your new version. You can give your new version a special URL so that only users who enter that address get the new version. Then you can let your developers or QA team or even early access customers test it out before you open it up to all of your production users.
Very good. Can't wait to start using this for my applications. Mia, so far, I've been deploying my apps by entering gcloud run deploy manually from the command line, and I haven't used any of these techniques we talked about.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But when your users start demanding more from your applications, a robust CI/CD pipeline is going to help you maintain your quality.
Thank you for these tips, Mia. And thank you, everyone, for watching. You will find links to the repos and tools we talked about in the show notes. If you have questions for me, or suggestions for future serverless topics, please enter them in the comments below. We read every single comment. Until next time.